Hey peeps, it's terribly gray here, but we are together this afternoon. Gracie is having a nice little snore, so you'll probably hear her in the background or see her moving around at some point in time. But I thought that I would share something that I've really been loving in my practice right now, and this is Oracle deck pairings. And I have two decks that I have paired together. I've used recently in some client readings. So thank you to my wonderful clients who purchased readings over the last 2 weeks, because y'all, your energy has inspired me to put these two decks together, and I am obsessed with the two of them. And it's funny because one of them, I was actually just about ready to be like, maybe our time together, our journey together has come to an end. You know, is this something that I'm going to consider donating? And no, the answer is absolutely no to that. We just needed to take some space from each other. So again, this is your friendly sister saying to you, don't donate your decks before you're ready. Try, check in with your heart. You'll know when it's time, but also don't pull the trigger too quickly. So the two decks that I have combined over the last 2 weeks with really powerful results is the, oh my God, I already forgot the name of this one, Sacred Earth Oracle by Toni, Carmine, Salerno, and Wild Wisdom of the Faery by Lucy Cavendish with artwork by Selena Fennick. So the funny thing is, I was at this deck was actually on my have we finished our journey together list, possibly, which yes, I will have a video coming around that. But I was really not sure. I wasn't sure if we were going to continue sharing a story together, but oh my God, the two of these decks together are so beautiful. So I'm going to talk about each of them individually, and then I'll talk about working with them together and what you might like to do in your personal practice to be able to build stronger, clearer relationship with them. So this first deck is Wild Wisdom of the Faery. It has a, it's shiny, guys. So what do we call that? Is it a satin finish? No, I think that's the in-between, isn't it? I don't know. Anyhow, it's a nice wet looking deck, which I actually am a little reminiscing for these days. I do love me some matte cardstock, but I also miss this kind of shiny, deliciously wet cardstock as well, especially for Oracle decks. But anyhow, so this deck is really focused on the realm of the Fae, and it has very specific messages. The guidebook is a gem. A real gem. If you work with this deck, I do encourage working with the guidebook. It's a meteor guidebook, and in true Lucy fashion, the guidebook meaning versus the divination meaning is a little bit different. So you do want to make sure you take your time while you're in the getting to know the deck process to look at the set meaning divinatory wise versus the kind of core meaning to the card itself. But it's a beautiful deck that's, I especially when I first purchased this deck, which was like way back in previous incarnations of Racine, I really, really loved this deck, felt very connected to it. I do feel that it's as a whole representative of the Fae. It's not as Fae hardcore accurate as, say, Brian Froud's decks for me personally, but it is still an accurate Fae depiction to me. And I do think Lucy gives you a lot of meat on the bone with this deck. It's not just live, laugh, love messages. There's some intensity and some realness to the cards in this deck. And many of you may remember, if you're OG to the channel, I drew Little Boy Blue from this deck right before I found out I was pregnant with Vincent. So this deck has a sweet spot in my heart because of that. But I have not used her in a while, and I haven't felt called to work with her. And so, like I said, she was kind of on my chopping block of, is this a deck that, it's time for me to allow to find a new home, someone who would actually really get a lot out of the deck. As I said, that's changed. So now I'm going to show you the Sacred Earth Oracle. This is the kind of sibling that together, oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. I'm so excited to talk about this. This has a nice matte cardstock. This is a newer edition than the Wild Wisdom of the Faery Oracle that I have there. This deck is very, again, good for, I don't usually like Salerno's guidebooks, but I do actually like this guidebook. There are like 3 different interpretations that you use based on like spiritual path, earth path, and then kind of like general elemental divinatory message. And I do really enjoy the guidebook. So I think it's one that you want to work with and get to know. The artwork in this deck I mean, I enjoy Selena's artwork. I really love the artwork in this deck. I have a very soft spot in my heart for this deck, and it's one of those decks that I will go many months without working with and then all of a sudden pull the deck out, and I really, really have just a sense of love and support that comes from this deck. And I do really feel that it embodies the earth element so profoundly, so beautifully. So individually, they're powerhouse decks. Let me say, individually, I tend to work with Wild Wisdom of the Faery for like earth path messages in my daily life. This deck is really effective for giving you like for instance, today I had a personal session, healing session myself, because every, you know, in my opinion, every healer should have healing work done on themselves as well. It's a beautiful way to create balance for the healer, and it's very supportive of their journey. And it also allows you to bring clarity to your own work with your own clients. So I had a wonderful session with a healer today. I've been working with her for some time, and I have a lot of love in my heart for her. Her work has been instrumental in assisting me to kind of open up to my truth ever more so. But I drew a card from the deck before I went for my session, and I received the Fairy Tales Letting Go, Detachment, Moving On card, which was really important for me personally. So I find that this deck, Wild Wisdom of the Fairies, gives very clear, insightful, kind of very personalized messages for like your daily walk, for your earth path walk, as my teachers would say. The Sacred Earth Oracle, despite being the earth element, tends to be a really spiritually kind of actually air element focused deck for me. It gives me a lot of insight into shifting out of mind patterns that are not helpful, and then also helping me to tap into this spiritual energy that I'm interacting with, evolving with, exploring, that might be going on in my experience. So what I was called to do with these two decks was to combine them as the main deck in a few readings over the last few weeks with clients. And I was shocked at how insightful they are. So I want to talk about how we can experience that. And I'm going to give you guys an example. Normally I would turn the camera around, guys, so you can see the cards on the table, but I honestly do not have time to do that today. And I really, really wanted to get this video out there while I'm fresh in this kind of lusty space with these two decks together. So I will hold the card images up and share them with you. But let's do a demo. So let's see, what can we demonstrate around this one? Let's say that we're looking for some insight into our purpose. Let's say that we want to see if we are connecting in and living our purpose fully at this point in time in our life. Okay, so I always find very helpful to kind of like check into the theme, the question that I'm focused on, and shuffle while I'm just kind of stepping into that space. So I'm just going to state out loud for us. And for some of you, if you resonate with this pull, please consider it a reading for you, a quick little pull for you. But we're connecting with the collective energy that joins together on this channel, sharing our stories and our spiritual path, and asking for insight into our purpose. Where are we at in our journey with our purpose? So I would start with Sacred Earth, and I would say, you know, where am I at with my purpose right now? The Alchemy card shows up. This is really beautiful, very, very, for me, very exciting. You know, I love occult studies, and I love the idea of alchemy, from dross creating gold, right? Taking something mundane and elevating it to the sacred level. And so we can see in regards to our purpose at this point in time, we're in the practice of alchemy. We're looking at how we can make our daily life consciously connected to our spiritual awareness and to embodying our path and our purpose. So let's say I want some further insight on that. Okay, so what aspect of my purpose am I exploring right now around alchemy patterns? So see how I was saying it really gives you clarity to the mind? So this is giving us some insight that part of what we are working this alchemical magic around is in regards to the ways in which we hold ourselves back due to fear of expressing ourselves, especially in regards to our boundaries in our journeys. So now I'm going to go over to Wild Wisdom of the Fairy. And I'm going to ask, okay, so if we're working on releasing unhelpful thought patterns so that we can step deeper into our power when it comes to our purpose, how is that playing out in our daily life? And now we have Midnight Prince, ask for what you want, be honest. So see how we said in expressing our boundaries is where we were really seeing that pattern being alchemized in our path. And we can see that Wild Wisdom of the Fairy letting us know that we're exploring that in our daily life through actually vocalizing those boundaries, being honest about what isn't working for us and what is working for us in the connections in our life and our career, professional phase, in the expectation and roles that we occupy within our career and or our personal life. It's about being honest about our boundaries. So now we can ask Wild Wisdom of the Fairy, how can I better embrace this energy, and how can I really express honestly and kindly those boundaries? And now we have Snail's Pace. Slow down, grounding, listen for the heartbeat of the earth, subtle energies. This is a beautiful affirmation that we get to take it slow with expressing those boundaries, kind of little by little, proving to ourselves through that very careful vocalization that it's safe for us to express those boundaries. It's safe for us to say no where we need to, and we're allowed to say yes where we feel called to as well. Beautiful energy, right? So let's go back to the Sacred Earth Oracle. And let's ask, if I am embodying my purpose of alchemy by shifting my thought patterns through honest vocalization at a healthy and safe pace for myself, what message do my guides have for me about living my purpose right now? And now we have the Balance card. So the Sacred Earth Oracle balancing. Let me say that again. The Sacred Earth Oracle expressing to us how important balance is between the spiritual and the earth path for us. Finding ways to embody our spiritual expression in our earth path and to be comfortable in our physical skin in our spiritual expression as well. So here is where we could bring tarot into it if we wanted to. So we can say, okay, I understand that balance is part of this expression, this fullness of my purpose at this point in time. This is the message my guides have for me, that it's about balancing fire and water within myself. And so now looking to the tarot, for further clarification, we receive the Queen of Swords, kind of dancing with the Midnight Prince's energy here around authentic, truthful expression, but also clarity. So our guides letting us know that it's through the balance between rest and play, between creation and feeling, between giving and receiving, that we find the clarity to know the right direction for us on our path. So you see how these two decks play together beautifully, and how you can use both of them together for clarification to the tarot as well. I have just been so totally like nerding out on how in love I am with these two decks working together. It's just a really, it feels like this beautiful conversation that the two decks are able to have together. Neither of them are competing. They both stay completely authentically themselves, but they give you almost like different halves of the same coin in understanding the message that you're being given or that you're asking for or looking for when you're coming to the cards for clarity on your personal path, for where you are in your journey, for support, for guidance, for insight. And I feel, and I have used both of these together for divinatory reasons as well, with great result. So I just wanted to share how much I'm loving putting the two of them together. And I also wanted to express, if you have a deck you haven't used in a really long time and you've been sitting with, is it time to donate the deck, to allow the deck to find someone who's really going to connect with the deck? Pull the deck out and work with it kind of in a way you normally wouldn't. It might let you kind of shift out of a way that you've kind of set in stone in looking at the deck. That can then broaden the horizon and find that you're getting a lot more out of the deck, choosing to work with the deck, and that it's actually a part of your collection that's viable still. Or it will very clearly show you that the deck is not up to task for that and it really is time to let it go. But I hope you are all doing well out there in the world. Thank you for hanging out with me on this gray day. You all know that I am sending you so much love and many blessings. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Take care.